mean, that's
Whenever I had to carry a pistol, I always would go pew, pew. They kept having to tell me, it's like, you don't have to make the noise. It's like,
but I
that's
want
how I
to.
grew up. You know?
But yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. And to be honest with you, there are some parts of Discovery that are extremely guilty of this. I don't think as far as to be a detriment to the story, but is it really, is it really, really necessary? But you mentioned earlier about like
my biggest problem is that I find Klingons boring. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. Everybody to their own.
And they didn't used to be boring because they used to talk like normal people. It's like they had, they look like Klingons, but they didn't. Now, whenever a Klingon talks, it takes an hour for them to get through a scene. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ.
How to start an argument amongst Trekkies? Talk about Klingons.
I know.
It's an easy one to start off with.
I know. I intentionally push people's buttons because, as I say, I'm not here. It's not. If it was in person, I wouldn't say it because I'm frail and slow, as you recall. But on screen,
you can say what you want to say because it'll be me and Gregor that'll have to put out the fires on Spot the Week's Twitter page.
I'm not going to criticise anyone for criticising the Klingons in Discovery that can't speak, as John so eloquently put it. They can't.
Yes, I'm not talking about all Klingons. I'm just talking about this iteration of Klingon. To me, they've gone too far. It's like, it looks cool, but those scenes are interminable. And I say that I'm not a huge Discovery fan either. I've only watched the first 6 or so episodes. I'm engaged enough to keep watching, but I can't say it's destination television for me at this point. And I'm obviously well behind.
I mean, to be fair for me, like I said, I have enjoyed watching it, but for me, is it one of those things where I can go back and watch it again and again and again? Like, for example, I watch Star Trek Voyager over and over and over again. I can go back and watch Enterprise, not as much as what I would watch Voyager, to be fair, but still, I can go back and watch it and sit through an episode and enjoy it. I can't do that. I can't do that with Discovery, and it doesn't mean I don't
give it 20 years. Give it 20 years. You may.
It's okay, John. I love you. I watch Enterprise more than Voyager. I love you. Don't worry.
I don't. That's all right. I'm not. As long as you're willing to buy me drinks, I don't care whether you like me. And I know that's true for Discovery too. If some Discovery actor came sidling up to you in a bar and said, "Hey, buddy, buy me a drink," you buy them a drink, even if you don't like their show, because you're enthralled to Star Trek. You're hooked. You're at
it. In fairness, I would. I have to say that I find the Discovery actors at the conventions really good, actually.
Everything. To be honest with you, the vast majority of them. And this goes back to the social media thing I spoke about earlier. Is most of them, and like yourself, are very interactive with the fans, very sort of active on Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that. And
have you run into any of the dicks? Have you run into any of the ones that just make you go like, "Fuck you"? And if so, who are they?
Oh no!
You You mean Shatner?
Newsflash, breaking news.
I don't think that's a news flash, really, is it?
I sat on Bill's lap once.
Did you?
I got the Shatner wave off, and then I sat in his lap. Yeah, so I was flying to a convention in Seattle with my wife, and he happened to be on the same flight. And we landed at the airport, and the driver hadn't arrived yet. So I was standing there and kind of checking my phone, and I got a little text, I'll be there soon. And Bill was some feet away, and he was like, where's the driver? So I kind of sidled up, and I was, going to say, hey, I just, and he kind of gave me like the Shatner wave off, which is like I was like there bugging for an autograph. It was like, I'm on Star Trek, motherfucker. I might be on the least popular Star Trek show, but nonetheless, I'm on motherfucking Star Trek, and I just know what you're looking. You're looking at the driver. I just got, God damn it. So he was like, oh, all right. So they come, they pick us up in like a Toyota Tercel. And it was like, the smallest fucking car ever made. It was the driver, some friend of the driver's, because, he wanted to meet Bill Shatner. Me, Bill Shatner, my wife, and Bill Shatner's whoever, amour, I don't know. And we were all crammed in this Toyota Tercel. It was like, I'm sitting on Bill Shatner's lap in a Toyota Tercel. Like, he's already given me the Shatner wave off. And I could tell he felt bad. He said, I'm meeting Leonard for lunch. Do you have any recommendations? So I gave him a couple of recommendations, and he said, would you like to join us? It was like, no, you gave me the fucking wave off, motherfucker. I'm going to join you for lunch. Plus, it's like, I'm sorry, but, Leonard is probably not going to be too keen that you invited this guy who sat on your lap in a Tercel to lunch. No, I'm not going to bust in on your fucking lunch. I realized it was probably every Star Trek fan's wet dream to have dinner with Kirk and Spock, and then I just said, nah.
Yeah, I don't think I've had.
I also recommended the worst restaurant in town, by the way, which was also my small act. You know where you should go. The Greasy Spoon Diner. It's fabulous. Yeah, it's fabulous. And this is what you should order. Because I'm mean. Don't fuck with me. Don't give me the fucking wave off.
Oh, you
I'm Bill Shatner. Bill Shatner, I adore you. Of course, I would happily play you in a movie based on your life. Should that movie ever be made?
I don't think I've had a bad experience with a Star Trek actor. I have to say though, I'm not big on the autographs and the photo opportunities at cons. And to be honest, at Vegas you don't really need to, because as you know yourself, most of you guys
we're just hanging by the bar. I know.
Yeah.
You just wait. Yeah.
And,
I think.
Particularly me and Ron Armstrong.
Yeah.
I have not so much.
Who's the biggest drinker at Star Trek? Let me ask you that question. Who's the biggest drinker you've ever encountered? And as Scots, I know that you have strong opinions about this.
I've not met anybody but Dominic Keating, I would say. I would guess.
Yeah, Dominic. I mean, I remember, I think it must have been the Thursday or Friday morning. It was the first couple of days of the con. And it was like 10 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, I spoke to Dominic in the big hall outside the main convention centre at the Rio, and I walked away and turned to say, was he pissed? And Sarah goes, I think he's out his head.
See,
I don't know where I've been, but I want.
I think it's a British thing. It's an English thing. It's a Scottish thing. It's a Welsh thing. It's an Irish thing. It's like we can drink. It's one thing we are very, very.
I think you can drink.
But honestly, it's like, see, every American movie and TV show that you see, and they come to their friend's house, and it's like, look, I brought some beers, and they turn up with a pack of 6, sometimes even a pack of 4 beers, and they're not even big beers. They're like Dr. Pepper size cans, 500 ml beers. If you turned up to a party in Scotland with just 6 beers, you'd be laughed down the street.
You wouldn't get in.
I mean, I'll give you an example. Pre-COVID lockdown, I would go to Gregor's house, and we would do recordings, or we would just watch Star Trek, or just have something to eat and meal and a laugh and a joke and stuff like that. If I didn't turn up with a 24-pack of Hop House 13 Guinness beer.
Good heavens. I confess, I'm not a huge beer drinker.
You are a connoisseur of the top shelf, my friend, or a wine drinker even.
No, I mean, if I'm at a convention and somebody says, "Going to buy you a drink," I would say, "I'll take a martini, I'll take a Manhattan, maybe I'll have a scotch." Is that my wife?
Maybe you'll have 2 or 3 of them.
Maybe I'll have. That's my wife. That's my.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Come say hi.
Well, I'm wearing a mask because we have a cleaning. Our housekeepers over.
This is my wife, Bonnie. These two gentlemen are in Edinburgh.
Hello,
Oh,
Bonnie.
hi.
Yes.
Hi, we love Edinburgh.
Yeah. So sink down into the frame, honey, so they can see you. Right now, they're just seeing your bodice.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So next time you're in Edinburgh, we'll take you to the best wine and whiskey bars.
Yeah, you can take your mask off,
Oh.
honey. It's just people.
Oh, okay, fine.
See your whole face.
No, the first time I was in Edinburgh was for the Fringe Festival before I met John in 1994.
What play were you doing?
7 blowjobs.
And what
Well,
happened
there you go.
when you went through immigration? What did they ask you?
It's a fantastic play. It's really fun and nutty, and it's very political. However, it was just after, I think, was that when the Lockerbie? It was when the plane.
That was
Lockerbie
nice.
was 88.
It was 88, wasn't it?
88 was Lockerbie.
88, yeah.
I wonder, something had happened the year before, so that when you went to the airport, they were very. They asked very targeted questions and stuff, and so in Scotland, and so when we landed, I had like parts of the set pieces and stuff that we were taking for the Fringe Festival, and the person at customs was asking me why I was there, and I said, I'm doing a play, and they said, oh, I said, I'm an actor, and they said, well, and what is the name of the play? And so I had to say very loudly, 7 blowjobs, and they went, what? So it was kind of embarrassing, I have to say.
Yeah, it very much sounds like a Fringe play, to be honest with you.
Yes, and I remember there was a French troupe of actors who was using the same space as we were, and I just remember they blew up the lighting board. Somehow they overloaded the whole thing, so when we went to perform our play, it was completely fried, and I remember that very clearly. Those French actors.
The last time we were there, we were just there for shits and giggles, so we didn't do anything. We just wandered around the city and had a grand time.
It's beautiful. You have
This-
castles. You have a big castle.
And cats. You have tons of cats wandering around the streets. My wife and I have a penchant for strolling around trying to find stray cats, just to kind of cozy up to them, make friends with them. So Scotland was a great place to do that. It's hard to do in Los Angeles. We don't let our cats outside because we got coyotes everywhere. So.
I didn't mean to interrupt your conversation. I was just telling
No,
you.
you're more than welcome.
I called the.
Oh yeah, well, I want to hear some of our domestic travails. Our washing machine overflowed. So is he coming today?
He's going to call me back.
Fabulous.
That's Tony, our plumber.
Tony. Tony.
I'm
All
going to
right,
stick
good
out.
news. All right, thank you, my darling.
Nice to meet
Nice
you.
to meet you.
That, by the way, Bonita Friedericy, who played a Borg on a second season episode in which the Borg appeared, the episode that some people think we jumped a shark. And she was also General Beckman on the show Chuck, for anybody who ever watched Chuck.
I did see that. I did check Memory Alpha. I did actually do some research for this.
Oh, you
episode,
did? Oh,
believe it or not.
yes. We go to conventions together. She started. She didn't want to go to conventions at first, and then she started standing in the back heckling me, and then eventually I got her on stage, and then I just handed her the mic, and I left and went to the bar, and she did the whole fucking thing by herself. Now we have a low vaudeville dog and pony show that features everything but cream pies and seltzer bottles, which is great fun for us and not so much fun for the audience because they live in constant fear.
It sounds like a Fringe show to me, John. Sounds like a Fringe show.
It's the part of me that always wanted to be a baggy pantsed comedian is like, has been set free by Star Trek reversely. Fun.
Well,
Come, get yourself a Fringe show.
Well, you know what?
Yeah, too lazy.
Edinburgh, like you say, you've been to Edinburgh. You've come to Edinburgh for the Fringe. You've come to Edinburgh for the shits and giggles. Like I say, next, as soon as we can get, everybody can sort of travel freely and we get to some kind of normality, you would be more than welcome to join us on the the Alba or whatever.
I always say yes when people are prepared to take me out and get me pie-eyed. I'm not going to drink 18,000 beers, but I will definitely have. Although I'm not going to order a Manhattan in Edinburgh. I remember from the last time I tried to get a Manhattan in Edinburgh. Maybe this has changed. But two things you guys were not great at was pizza and Manhattans. It's like
you see that
You're
There are
going
a
to the
couple-
wrong places then. So.
There are a couple of cocktail
not-
bars. There are a couple of cocktail bars that are specifically.
I had good luck with martinis because you can't fuck up a martini.
One of the
Did you freeze? Did I?
yes, we all did there. I think we apologies, listeners and viewers, for that technical disruption.
We were
One
all
of the
taking the
things-
same pregnant pause.
One of the things that have you when you were in Edinburgh, did you ever come across a drink by the name of a girder?
Doesn't ring a bell, but it was some years back. What's a girder?
A girder is vodka and iron brew, which is is a Scottish beverage. Bit like it's like our national soft drink, isn't it?
It's our Coca-Cola.
Yes, it
Coke
basically
is
is.
to the US. Iron Brew is to Scotland.
Okay, no, I didn't come across that, but I mean, I'm willing to give it a good old college try, as long as I can, reject it after a sip and move on to a drink.
Oh, yeah. Then,
You'll probably reject it when you watch it being poured, to be honest with you. So.
Well, I remember at one bar where it was like order Manhattan. It was like, what is that you're putting in that? That doesn't belong in a Manhattan. I think they made it with dry vermouth, which is like, no. But so anyway, no, I probably won't be consuming beers with you. I'm much more of a hard liquor guy.
oh, good. Do you like the occasional bourbon, my good man?
I do indeed. I'll drink some Irish. I'll drink something with a little water back. But what you got there? Long Branch. I don't think I know that one.
That's
Bourbon.
wild turkey. Wild turkey.
All right. Yeah. So no, I'm not. Nor am I a connoisseur. I mean, the people who spend $150 on a bottle of bourbon, or who do like tequila tastings, it's like, yeah, I'm not.
I'm the same. I'm the same. Honestly, it's like I enjoy the taste. I'm by no means one of these people that can nose it and get the smells and the flavors.
Yeah. No, I know. The people who stick their noses in glasses of wine always make me laugh too. I mean, it smells good. Yeah, it smells good.
It's like I'm getting.
But it's like, don't cut your nose to the liquor. I don't want to drink that after you've had your snout in it.
I'm getting.
My dad
flowers.
became.
I'm getting.
It's
brewery.
I know.
The Scottish guy in the
And
corner. I'm getting pissed.
I do admire the guys. I mean, I don't mean to say that I think there aren't people who actually can legitimately do that. It's just, to me, it's like,
it's a skill. It's a skill. What was it? I did a distillery tour one time, and to become a master distiller, so you have to be able to do the mixings and the ratios by sight, smell, because obviously if you were trying to taste it every time, you'd never get anything done because you'd be just on the floor powerless. But I remember it was something like nearly 15-year apprenticeship, 15 years.
Wow.
Thereabouts. I might be a little bit out, but it's a long time to go from nothing to becoming a master distiller, because you have to do it, like I say, 15 or so years in order to master the skill to be able to.
I have a question for you, a Scotland-centric question for you. So a couple of questions. One, where to the casual traveler, where would you recommend that one go in Scotland that is sort of like, you haven't seen Scotland if you haven't gone to some place off the beaten path, some place that people don't appreciate appropriately? What would be like your recommendation to?
Go on, Gregor. I'll let you.
Well, Skye's the obvious one, but
It's so fucking beautiful.
Skye's becoming a little bit problematic because obviously it's got a small population. There's not a lot of accommodation, and thanks to various TV shows and films that have been filmed there over the years, it's become a magnet for people just traveling, and it's become ridiculous price-wise for accommodation. But I don't know.
We got there before that had quite happened. This is some years back, but yeah.
Well, this is unbelievable now. Skye has 2 Michelin star restaurants.
Wow. We did not go to those.
Yeah, Skye has 2 Michelin star restaurants.
Wow.
Glasgow doesn't have 2 Michelin star restaurants. Manchester doesn't have 2
Is there a place that still is sort of, to you, kind of wonderful but a little undiscovered?
I think undiscovered's a tough thing, but I think beyond Skye, I think what is well worth seeing is just going back over the mainland to the Kyle of Lacalsh. and just driving as much as you can the coast all the way up the northwest and then along the north coast.
I was going to mention that because a few years ago, they actually officially named this route as a tourist route, but they called it the North Coast 500. So I'm going to assume it's because it's around about 500 miles, give or take. But like Gregor says, you start off at the Kyle Locals, you go all the way up to the north, very far north of Scotland, towards John O'Groats and back down again and stuff like that. And if you, I mean, I know, like I say, it's a bit of an American sort of, I can't remember the word for it, stereotype of road trips. You know, there was long, wonderful road trips and stuff like that. If you are into that sort of thing, then the North Coast 500.
Yeah, absolutely. Although I have to say, one of the most terrifying things I've ever done is try to drive on the left-hand side of the road on the Isle of Skye.
Oh, on the correct side of the road, yes.
Yeah, and there's there really isn't a side. It's just like it's a tiny road with turnouts, and it was also a stick shift, which neither my wife nor I had driven in years.
How many times did you go to change gear and open the door?
That didn't happen, but I felt like we were constantly on the verge of plummeting off a cliff. It was like,
so you did that in I would say a reasonably sized car, like a medium sized saloon, or a what you would call a compact or something like that, maybe.
I'm sure it was. I imagine it was a compact. I don't remember. I remember that we had not. You try and think of everything when you're traveling, yada yada yada. And we booked a car, but we had not made sure that we had booked an automatic. And so the only car they had was
so that was quite an experience for you, wasn't it? Now, imagine doing those roads in something that's 8 feet wide and 40 feet long.
No. I've
done this.
No. But at least you're driving on the right side of the road from your perspective, which is what is the other terrifying thing. Is we were driving in New Zealand, and that was another instance where it's just like you just have to constantly. Have you driven in the States by any chance? Have you ever driven?
Gregor has.
I have.
Did you find that terrifying, Gregor? Did you get used to it?
I was okay in the left-hand drive car, and to be honest, the first time I drove in the States was actually in Vegas. I picked up a Camaro McLaren, and for complex logistical reasons, we actually had a room booked in the Rio the same night we had a room booked. I can't remember the name of it, but the town that's on the south rim of the Grand Canyon.
Laughlin?
I can't remember the name of it, but it's basically, I'll call it a town. It's basically a collection of hotels about 7 miles from the south rim of the Grand Canyon.
Flagstaff?
It wasn't Flagstaff. It's a tiny place because we drove through Flagstaff. But yeah, I found it okay. Even driving, they said don't drive up the strip, but I thought I'm a tourist. It's my first time. It was actually my first time in America. I'm going to drive up the strip. Having been 10 hours on an airplane from Manchester to Vegas, jumped in a car and I drove up the strip. I thought, oh my God, everything is so goddamn plastic. It's so fake. But I enjoyed the drive.
Vegas. It's Vegas. You knew that. I mean, you knew what you were getting into.
Vegas is, apart from the convention, Vegas itself is not a typical holiday. I like to go to places like the Galapagos Islands or Vietnam or hopefully, touchwood, Cambodia in November. That's more my type of holiday. But yeah, I found it okay because everything was a grid in Vegas itself. And then, the roads were so straight. It was so straightforward. But, it's not, I can understand. Yeah. If you were to drive a car in Edinburgh, I'm getting terrified to drive a ar in Edinburgh because they keep changing the road signs.
New Zealand was interesting too because that's it's. Have you been in New Zealand?
No, it's on my to-do list.
It's beautiful.
I've got my limit of exploration is the furthest I've ever been is Croatia. That was driving. I was working. So
I hear that's gorgeous.
It is beautiful. We went to a place just south of Porec, I think it's pronounced. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that. Just on the Adriatic coast there. It is stunningly beautiful. It really is.
Have you been to Mostar? when you've been down that way then, JJ?
No, I have only been there
You
the
know-
once, and it was literally a 21-hour drive from Calais in France to Porec in Croatia, literally non-stop, only stopping to change drivers, and we were there for 4 days and back out again, so we didn't really get to see a lot of it.
Right. Well, let me fire John's question back at him.
Go for it.
So I've done the Grand Canyon.
Yes.
I've done Death Valley, which in a way I actually enjoyed more than the Grand Canyon. Don't want to belittle the Grand Canyon, but when you've travelled a lot, I think it's maybe not quite the thing that the American Tourist Board will have. I think.
If depends upon what you were looking for. If you were looking for scenic, I would say driving up the Pacific Coast on Highway 1 is absolutely fabulous. Montana is absolutely, there's a train trip you can take through the Canadian Rockies that kind of you pick it up in Vancouver, Canada, which is also an absolutely fabulous city and maybe one of my favorite North American cities. Seattle, I think, is Seattle and Portland. The Pacific Northwest, I think, is really, you know, sort of one of the gem-like parts of America. New England, Vermont during the fall, the coast of Maine, New Orleans, the Smokies, and the Appalachian Trail. America's beautiful. You know, you just have to avoid the people. No, I didn't say that.
We'll edit that bit out. No. Right, guys. I hate to be that person, but I don't know if
it's time.
I don't know if you remember that we're actually doing a podcast right now. Just
right. I know you're gonna have to. I know. And by the time nobody's gonna get to the end of this, it's like, you know, people are gonna say, "Is he still fucking talking?" Jesus fucking Christ!
Oh,
Maybe
honestly.
You should just like introduce us in 5-minute segments for the next 10 years.
Well, to be honest with you, we've got to leave. We could sort of split this up anyways and whatnot. But this is an absolutely fantastic finale to the season. One thing I want to say live on air while it's being recorded, I'm putting you on the spot right now. If we asked you again in the future, would you come back and join us again sometime?
Of course I would. I don't think I let you ask any questions, so you probably would be, you know. Wait till I have a guest spot on Discovery, and then you can come, and I can, you know, you can really enjoy having. Oh, I hate that.
We could possibly do a sort of one of those all is revealed sort of type episodes where the gloves are off, there's no holds barred, you know.
That wasn't this.
I must have been asleep.
You were being gentle with me. You were being delicate.
We were being gentle. We were being extremely gentle.
Oh, I had no idea. So I'll say in closing that if you share some of the social media shit for the Hollywood Food Coalition, you know, I'm always elated when obviously people have a lot of different places they can make their contributions. But if people have any interest in supporting that particular organization and supporting the work, you guys will share how to do that and smooch. And thank you for that.
And how would people get involved with that if they can get
If you're in
involved?
Los Angeles and you wanted to get actually physically involved, we need people to come in every day to help cook and serve and rescue and share food. And the easiest way to do that is to sign up online at hofoco.org. That's hofoco.org. And of course, I realize that, you know, there's so many different ways that you can get involved in terms of making a financial contribution. So I you know, freely recognize, why am I going to contribute to an organization in Los Angeles? I don't live in Los Angeles. But, you know, I can't answer that question except because Dr. Phlox asked you to.
I think for all the reasons we discussed, John, that's why you can make a contribution.
All right.
So,
You know something? I mean, one of the things I said to Gregor before we started the podcast is I wanted to make sure. That's why I asked you if you had any details that we have been contacted, so we've got the details,
Yes.
and we can get them into the show notes so that if anybody wants to look up the website and check them out, or as you say, get involved, whether that be financially or physically, you can do that through the links that we will put in the show notes, and we will tweet the information as well. And it's the least we can do for you and for the fine people that you help through the Food Coalition and all that, and it's the least we can do for that. So we're more than happy to blow that trumpet and spread that word. So
Much obliged.
God bless you for doing that as well. I mean, like I say, it's something that's a million miles away from us, but in reality, it's a close. It's still pretty close.
Yeah.
Because it's a human thing. So brilliant, fantastic. On that note, thank you very much for joining us on Spock of the Week. We do really appreciate it, and
My pleasure.
And I hope you've had just as much fun as we have.
I don't know how much fun have you had.
Oh, tremendous! I mean, you could probably notice when I fanboyed out about halfway through the podcast there, so I do apologise.
Was that when you froze?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done. That was good. That was. I mean, I'm not an actor.
Well, I'm a professional actor. Look, I'm blushing.
As always, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, if you're listening to this, children, where are your parents? Second of all, we can be followed on Twitter. All three of us. Gregor at Crabbit Ginger. Myself at Alba Android, and I'm going to. That's it. I was like, damn! I forgot to write this down.
I frequently don't remember it myself. All the different passcodes and nicknames and what have you. J Billingsley. That's with an E, SLEY 60. Because
there you go.
60.
Is
born in 60.
I feel like a baby right now. I genuinely
feel like a baby?
Yeah, I mean 60, Gregor's 50. I'm only
51.
50. All right, 51. I was being nice.
And you're and what are you, like 29?
I am 33.
33? You are a baby. You are a baby.
Still wet behind the ears.
You've got so much of life ahead of you.
I have indeed.
So much of life ahead. Of course, she died young. So, anyway, on that cheery note, yeah, I know. Irony. The irony.
Leave on a happy note, and honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure. It really has. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. As we said, this is our season finale of season 2 of Spot of the Week. Gregor mentioned in a previous episode that I am taking a step back, and I will be for season 3, namely because at the time of recording, as of tomorrow, I will have a brand new baby daughter in my arms. So yes, so that's the reason why I will not be
your own child, or are you stealing a child?
Shh, we're stealing. No, it's my own. Yes. Although we have suspected that the postman might be involved somewhere, but no, she will be born tomorrow. So as of this point, I will be taking a step back.
What's her name?
She's going to be called Alanda.
Alanda,
yeah. It's a name after my partner's father. So it's the female version of Alan. So that's where that's coming from. So she will be born tomorrow. So I'll be taking a step back to spend time with my daughter and my son. And yeah, so this will be the last time you hear me in the podcast for a little while. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with season 3, where Gregor will be joined by our friend and my stand-in, James Golding, and a few other people along the way. So thank you for listening. Thank you, John, for joining us, and stick around for a little bit after the recording, and if you don't mind, if you want, just for a little casual
post-match discussion, if you would be.
Sure.
Yeah, brilliant. So yeah, and for everybody listening at home, and for you guys that are lucky enough to be watching this on video, thank you for watching us, and live long and prosper. I've been John, he's been Gregor, and he has been John Billingsley.
Oh, was that my cue? I'm sorry. I hadn't realized that you were asking me to continue speaking. I thought that we were done. I also realized that in the bottom of my screen it says Bonita Friedericy. That's not me. That's my wife. I just never bothered to change my name. Are we actually? Is this actually going to be seen, or is it just going to be the audio recording?
It's the for the Spot of the Week listeners, it's going to be the audio recording. The
Because
video.
most of the humor has come through my facial contractions, and now I'm realizing
I know,
that
you've-
you know.
You've got an actor here. You can't deny
I've
it.
been making
Well,
all sorts of
here's the thing, right?
faces, expressive eyebrow raising, and all
Okay.
for naught, all for nothing.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Gregor's
Here we
making
go.
a fabulous face right now. He's imitating my smile.
Well, here
None
we
of us
go.
are wearing any. None of us are wearing any clothing. I'm stunned that the people who
Well, I'll
are
tell you
hearing
what.
this, not seeing this, are only getting a fraction of the enjoyment that was possibly available to them under other circumstances. That's all I can say.
Well, I think we have been press ganged into making this a YouTube video as well. I will get onto that as well.
Is this the cover picture?
There you go. There you go. I mean, it's not like I washed my hair or anything. I'm not going to say that, I cleaned up especially for you guys, but I did put on a relatively clean shirt. Jesus fucking Christ. I can't believe this.
I did my hair and everything.
All right. All right. See, now at some point you're going to have to actually stop recording because I'll just keep nattering and we'll be here for hours.
Yeah,
It's like one of the show that doesn't actually have an ending. You
It's
keep
a long.
thinking-
we're trying to make up for Enterprise being cut short by making
I
this
won't let
really
you.
long.
What you don't actually know. This is all post credits. So
Oh, so you've already stopped recording.
no. We've left this in. We'll leave this in. No,
Oh,
this
no,
is it. This is it. This is definitely the end.
This is a real end.
I'm pressing
This
the
is
button
the
now.
end.
I'm pressing the button now. Going 3,
And this is
2,
and now
1.